Welcome back. This is Corporate Radar. Well, as promised, let's get you a big voice from the telecom space. Bharti, Airtel, Sunil Mittal spoke to Sheeren Bhan and said he's eyeing the average revenue per user to hit 300 rupees by the end of FY25, but he ruled out any hike in 5G tariffs for customers just yet. Listen into excerpts from that conversation.
What's the aspiration as far as OneWeb is concerned? You're speaking to us from the office, which you say is buzzing at this point in time. But, where do you see OneWeb over the next few years? And specifically from an Indian context perspective, the FDI policy liberalized as far as space exploration is concerned, etc. How do you see this playing out as an opportunity for you?
Well, SATCOM is really an exciting area. Finally, after long years, satellite services are now providing the desired speeds that are required for running, your normal day-to-day operations on internet, like terrestrial mobile networks or fiber networks. Speeds are good, capacities are high, and this has all been possible due to advent of technology, especially in a low Earth orbit constellations. We are very, very keen to start services in India. We are ready. Our ground station is firing up in Gujarat, Mehsana. And the southern SNP is towards completion now. So every square inch of India is covered now. Satellites are all up there in space. So we just now need the green light to start our services. I personally believe it will benefit a lot of areas that need connectivity, especially for defense forces in the Himalayas, in the deep deserts, for Navy in the high seas, and of course also for our Air Force, activities. Then ONGC for the oil rigs and many other industrial applications. And even for my own industry, all the USO that we get from the government, where we put up geo-based VSATs, which are slow and not as good as what we can offer, they need to be replaced with the LEO network. So I am actually pretty excited about this opportunity. In Africa, we are starting now. Australia has started. In the CIS, including Ukraine, services are now up and running. In Canada and Alaska, we are up and running. So it seems to be the right place to be. But again, this is a new area. There are risks in the business. There are very strong competitors like Starlink out there, with Kuiper, Amazon coming up in the next 3-4 years. So exciting place. I'm learning every day and trying to understand this space better.
Let's talk about the old areas, the legacy business, the bread and butter business on the telecom side. For several years, we spoke about that 200 rupee ARPU. You've got to that, and now, of course, looking at perhaps 300. What's the outlook as far as, telecom is concerned? You've been on the premiumization side of things for a while now. Is a tariff hike possible, likely, on the cards? Take me through what the dynamic looks like at this point in time.
Gopal uses the word tariff repair, and I think that's the right word to say, because hike always looks pretty aggressive. Fact is, when I was in Barcelona just 2 days back for the Mobile World Congress, people are stunned at what level of ARPUs the Indian industry operates. $2.2 a month for almost unlimited bandwidth that is sold. 2 GB a day is can't even be comprehended by the Western operators, who operate at $30-40 a month with probably half a GB a day. So Indian industry, if it has to be viable, and these digital highways that have been built, especially by the two main operators, really need to be financially sustainable. For that, I have mentioned 300 rupees ARPU, which will still be just $3.50, will just ensure that there's enough money on the table to put up new networks, more fiber, more submarine cables, more satellite investments. And 300 rupees, as you know, was mentioned many years back. And a lot of inflation has taken place in the last 5-7 years, where electricity prices are up, employee costs are up. Almost every touch point is up in terms of costs. Yet we are still talking about 300. In fact, that number should look more like 400. But I recognize that, it's very difficult in our industry to take the ARPUs up. So next pit stop is 250, then hopefully 300. And if you ask me, I hope it happens within the coming financial year.
So 300 within the coming financial year, or 250 within the coming financial year?
I hope there should be 250 and then 300 by the time we close the next financial year.
Mr. Mittal, on the 5G front, because you talked about that, what about the monetization? Are we likely to see industry? I mean, if you're, as you said, it's a challenge to even get to 250 and 300. What about the monetization, different pricing as far as 5G services is concerned? I mean, should we expect that even?
I think people are not going to pay you anything extra for 5G unless you're going to do industrial applications where you go into industries and factories. And I was in Barcelona. It's mind-boggling what's going on there. You can see early signs of AI, 5G combined networks running for the industries, especially industrial units. And that is where some monetization will happen. But as far as B2C is concerned, consumer part of the mobile industry, there is going to be nothing for the tens and tens of thousands of crores that have been spent on spectrum as well as the network. And that's why the need to have 300 rupees has become even more acute.
So nothing extra on the 5G front in terms of pricing. Mr. Mittal, I also want to understand from you, what we have seen, of course, is a big deal yesterday with Disney and Viacom and Reliance coming together. And the move towards perhaps more and more bundled services. How do you look at this dynamic and what do you believe the impact is likely to be? How do you see yourself positioned in this environment?
Well, we have always said we will partner with content providers. We have never been in content, and therefore we will reach out to the new combination of Viacom, Disney. They will be one of our providers on a non-discriminatory basis. We have relationship with Netflix, with Amazon Prime, with Z, with Sony, and this will be one of the providers. And I think this consolidation is good for the industry, and I only hope that everything will be provided to all the networks on a non-discriminatory basis. So we welcome this move and look forward to a healthy relationship with the providers.
Mr. Mittal, I know we're running out of time. My last question, what's the next big milestone for you? You said you're spending a lot of your time traveling, learning about new sectors and new areas. What's the next milestone that you've set for yourself personally?
Well, I'm not too far from 70. I'm 66 now. So another 3.5 years, I should, pump in as much of knowledge and, building of global relationships that I can for the benefit of the company. But I still have good energy, and I hope I'm able to contribute towards the strengthening of Airtel's ecosystem around the globe.
Well, interesting chat there with Mr. Mittal himself. For the timing.